Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's NBAR meeting. We'll open up to public comment. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to make a statement with regards to something that is not on today's agenda, please do so now.
Good morning. We do not have any public comment.
Not seeing anyone rise in the auditorium here. We will move on to the elections of the 2025 NBAR Chair and Vice Chair. The floor is open to nominations.
I nominate Michael to be chair.
I will second that motion.
Second.
Third.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Ayes carried.
Ayes carry. Moving on to the Vice Chair. The floor is now open up for nominations.
Bobby's Vice Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to nominate Mr. Jones.
I'll second.
Okay, well, nominations are still open. I nominate Kevin Small.
Not here. Would you like to nominate him since he's not here? What do you want? Stay.
All in favor of Bobby Jones remaining as Vice Chair, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Congratulations, gentlemen. All right, moving on to member recusals. Has anybody any contact with anybody on today's agenda, applicants, planners, members of the public that have concerns about this project?
Had a Starbucks spot.
Okay. Not seeing on a rise. We'll move on to the agenda status report.
We do not have any changes.
Okay, with that said, we will move on to the approval of the meeting minutes for December 20th. This is part of your packet. I hope you'd had a chance to review it. And would you like to make any adjustments, revisions, or add anything to those meeting minutes?
I'm not sure. James.
Okay. Then I will ask for a motion to approve those meeting minutes as received. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Move on now to the NBAR members' informational briefings. You should have received this morning your 700s email. The deadline reminder is April 1st. Haha. So get that stuff back to,
Is that our profit and loss statement?
that is correct. County staff. Okay, moving on to staff update.
I have a quick update for today. The Board of Supervisors recently adopted the Agricultural Enterprise Ordinance. And what that does, it essentially expands the uses that are allowed in portions of the county's Ag 2 zones, just to provide new opportunities for people who are primarily, making their livings in agriculture, but need opportunities for increased revenue and economic opportunity while still keeping their land primarily in agricultural use. So the types of uses included in that, there's some incidental food service, opportunities for campgrounds in certain types of ag uses when certain setbacks to other ag properties can be met. Opportunities for farm tours, things like that, just to give people some additional economic opportunity to sustain their agricultural use. And that went into effect just about 20 days ago. We are getting a number of inquiries. I think about 5 inquiries so far. Farm stays are included in that as well, which a lot of members of the community were excited about. So if you want any other, details about it, have questions about it, I'm happy to answer them at the next meeting. That's all I have for today.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. RV camping opportunities. All right, then we'll move on to the day's standard agenda. Item number BR 24-00141, the Orchid Gateway Retail Center drive-through Starbucks. If the applicant is available, go ahead and introduce yourself for the record and begin your presentation.
Is that number one?
Thank you. My name is John Belisario, Principal Architect over at Studio Prime Architecture. Thank you guys for taking part in this committee
Pause
hearing.
for a second.
Yeah.
Can't hear very well.
Uh,
Thank you.
You can proceed.
Can you hear me now?
Much better.
That's better, thank you.
Thank you once again for taking part in this committee hearing. We're prepared to discuss the changes that have been made based on the comments that we received and the thoughtful feedback from our last review. We feel strongly that those have been addressed and that the product and the design solution that we put before you today with those comments have led to a better design. The basic box shape was one of the primary concerns. We'll be able to take a look at perspectives today to show some of the solutions that were utilized, including deepening the brow, furring out an accent wall, changing of material underneath that brow to play up the entrance and to reduce the box shape. You want to go ahead and slide to the next page, please. So the deepening of that brow, we added that brown material change at the entry that wraps around between the two entrance points. Once again, to draw focus to that area and to help relieve the boxiness concern. The other primary concern seemed to be with the black color, which was a primary color on that horizontal siding. That has been replaced with a warm brown, with the black just being a subordinate color as an accent. We've also updated the salmon, which also kind of had that dated feel to it with a warmer gray at the base of the building. And I think that the overall outcome, once again, from the feedback of those comments is that we've got a more sophisticated feel to the building and a lot more warmth to it. Also in the perspectives, just wanted to show what that human scale and that approach will feel like with the warmth underneath those fins as well with the warm wood. Screening was another concern. Once again, by use of the perspectives, wanted to show not only did we reduce that in height by 18 inches, but wanted to show how little with that reduction would be visible upon approach and interaction with the building. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With all that said, does the board have any comment at this time?
I do, thanks. It looks a lot better, I think. Just a couple of comments, maybe. If you look at the south elevation, you've got some darker material next to the windows. And on the east elevation, you didn't do the same. Would it look better if you did the detail the same way so that you could have some continuity there?
Can you scroll to the next perspective, please?
No, the next one.
And the next one, please.
Oh, okay, it's not shown that way on the elevation, but that's exactly what I thought you should do.
Okay, yes. So once again, just to kind of play up those entrances, we wanted to celebrate both of those and draw people in as there are two primary points of entry. And then that is also further made visible and through the use of that thickened frame at those doors, which will also kind of set those apart from the glass itself. But yes, we are wrapping that around the corner, and once again, that whole wall furs out and is a double wall thickness to once again just going to add some relief and add that focus that the committee felt was missing.
I didn't check. Is it shown that way on the working drawings on the elevations?
Yes, it is.
Okay, because I had an elevation here that didn't show it. The other thing that just as a question is on the south elevation, there's the overhang is nice with the brackets and all that stuff. It isn't quite enough to manage the sun in the summer, but if it was like another foot or something, maybe it would. I didn't do the angles, but like 30 degrees usually. Is that possible?
I think we took it out from about 3.5 feet to 5, is where it's sitting right now.
I didn't do a sun study or anything, of course, but
Sure.
if it manages the sun on the glass, it would benefit the building a little bit, I think, if it's possible.
Yeah, I think it's going to manage the primary side there really well because obviously that's the high point. So that angle is going to be, coming from a higher degree. Whereas on the east,
Well, the east, you can't do anything.
exactly,
the south is what I was-
that
what I
summer
think.
sun mornings are still going to be problematic no matter what we do. But I do feel strongly that 5 feet will perform nicely on the south side.
So your glass is about 8 feet tall and it comes out 5 feet. That's close.
That's like about 9 or 10 feet tall.
It is 9. It is 10.
10 feet. So it might need to stick out a little bit more. I don't know. You could study that. That'd be fine to modify on your plans later.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I think the colors are better. I like you took a 1.5 feet off the top and that's better from a distance as well from the freeway. I think it reads now.
This is Michael Nicola. I'm just questioning. I was not here last week, so I didn't see the previous iteration. I'm just curious, is there any provision for outdoor space? Seating?
Yes, so to the east side there, out that side single door entry, there is a small patio space.
I keep looking just to the left or to the right of that door, to that large brown area. And kind of thinking that that's an opportunity for something to maybe warm this up a little bit, including just using another Starbucks logo sign, which I personally like a lot. It just seems a little bare. I mean, this is a fairly spare looking building, so just a little bit of warmth. And I don't know whether there's any plan for any form of landscaping or, exterior decor.
Yeah, there are landscaping plans and there is, there is some focus on playing up the entry based on last comments. And then there's, the obvious growies and plantings along the building to soften that edge and transition. That will obviously improve the aesthetics when you're looking at this holistically.
Do you have a plan for that we can see?
It should be on the submittal set. Let's see what page that would be.
The other way.
That is,
Yeah, if you can go back on.
it's gonna be the last 6 sheets.
There you go. That's close enough.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of colors right there.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Can you show us the elevations? We just went past them and that little trim piece I was mentioning is it the next there. See where there should be some trim on the right side of the window. as in your elevate perspective?
Yeah, they wrap, it's wrapped around to the side of the mullion. And so it does need to
On the
come
right
out.
side.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So you
Yeah.
can see the material has wrapped the corner. It's at the top of the glass. And it aligns with the edge of that mullion, versus bringing it out a couple more feet, like in the perspective. So there's an option there, I guess, for which one the committee feels looks better.
Well, that's what I was mentioning before. It would look better if you matched what you're doing on the south elevation, I think.
The way the perspective shows.
Just like the perspective shows.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a chance to go back and look at the details. Can you show us where the details are of like your mechanical equipment screening and your windows and all that sort of thing on your plans?
That's going to be 6.1 and 6.2. A 6.1 and 6.2, excuse me. And that's right before landscaping.
Is it, oh, it's a little lag on my end. This one? You want me to zoom into a specific one?
No.
Which detail do you want to look at? The window configuration?
We always look at like window details, the mechanical screening details and that sort of thing to make sure that they jive with what you've shown us.
The screening, it has a call out, but I don't see a detail for that. It's called out in style, color, and location. As far as the window configuration, it's your standard curtain wall configuration with the dark bronze. Once again, just called out and shown in elevation and not in separate window elevations or detail.
And what sheet is that mechanical screen, the material called out on?
I would go back to the color and material board. And it's listed as number 10. Base and screening, Dunward Edwards, DE 6377, boat anchor.
This is the elevation the perspective that shows the brown material that's on the right-hand side of the storefront there on I guess that's the east elevation. Whereas the construction document elevation did not show that. I think that was Jim's question too, right?
Yeah, the one on the right is also a little bit wider than the one on the left. I assume that you're gonna make them the same.
As far as you mean the termination point on the left-hand side and the width of those?
The width, yeah, the width looks good on the left side. On the right, it's a little long, but just
Yeah, I was playing with the kind of 1/3, 2/3 rule, and trying, it just felt a little better from that side, but I could see where having that equal proportion would be nice as well.
use your eyes. It needs to be trimmed off that way, I think.
Yeah, the question was that the elevation in the construction document doesn't show that.
Didn't show it at all.
Yeah.
Right, it needs to be included.
Mhm.
And also about the overhang depth or the distance from the building, the width, can it be made a little bit bigger?
You mean the projection, Jim?
Yeah, out from the building.
5 feet's pretty significant.
Yeah, because we're not purely cantilevering, that is possible. Obviously, we have those supports above, so bringing that up further is not a concern structurally.
I'm asking another director, is this going to protect this amount of glass from the sun? I mean, that's a lot of glass.
But it has to do with the angle and I didn't do a sun study, but usually it's like, a 30-degree angle is summer here, but I didn't run a number on it. But it might need to be another foot or so, but the architect can move it out if that's what we want him to do, which I think would look good too.
I think on that south side, that sun will never even hit that window.
You don't think so?
Not at midday. It's what, 80 degrees? It's gonna be,
In the summer.
in the summer.
Yeah.
Might be nice to have the sun hit it in the winter. It's pretty cold out there this morning.
Man.
Any other comments?
No, other than it looks a lot better than it did.
Absolutely.
Also, on the working drawings, it doesn't show the brackets on the east elevation of the holding up the canopy, and that needs to be shown on the working drawings.
I have a question for the planner. Is it possible to add another Starbucks logo over by the entry door as you mentioned earlier? Or is that exceeding the sign allowance?
Well, wasn't there landscaping there?
Yes,
I believe there is, yes.
there's landscaping all the way around the building.
But we don't see what that landscaping looks like in the renderings.
It looks like about 4 feet.
We'd have to look back at the overall sign plan to study that, if that was something that you wanted to.
Oh, it's just a question. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. No, I'm okay with it.
What is the landscaping material that's going to be used in that particular place?
Can't read the drawing.
It's calling out S8. S8 is a scientific name. Carl, let's use the Carl Forster. Feather reed grass. So. I think that aligns nicely with that kind of more sophisticated color palette that we're now ended up with.
It's going to be quite tall.
Oh, here's that.
And as far as signage, we do have those large Starbucks signs now on 3 sides. We have added one on the east.
Yeah.
So on the approach, you're going to pick up that one from that corner. You have one on the north and then one on the drive-through side.
Yeah, I think at maturity, there's no reason to put another logo
Yeah.
sign there.
I agree.
And that goes, I mean, it's all around that entry area.
It's just that there was nothing at eye level identifying the building as it was on either side. It just seemed a little odd to me.
Yeah, just so you know, we pulled up a picture of what the reed grass looks like.
Mhm.
And we're happy with the height and the aesthetic.
Thank you. Yeah, I think also the color, right, with the nice warm brown that's now being utilized, those will look nice together.
Yeah, well,
Agree. What's this agenda is for?
It's agendized for both preliminary and final approval.
What do we have to do regarding the, what is it, the southeast elevation there without, that doesn't match the perspective?
I think that's the east elevation, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
It needs to,
It is the east elevation. Yeah.
needs to match the south elevation next to the glass.
Like the
And,
Uh, Are we able to write that as a condition based on the fact that we have a graphic that can be supported?
Well, the graphic's a little bit longer, but yeah, it needs to match the width. And also on the elevations, you're not showing the brackets above the canopy on that elevation, which need to be added too, and that's the only place it's missing, right? I think. And I'd like to see that overhang another foot if you could do it, but I don't know what ramifications that would bring in terms of parking and stuff.
Right. Because that's a. It's only 6 inches, 6 feet out, 7 feet out.
You said it was 5 feet deep,
The overhang here,
the overhang.
projection. Are you talking about the face of the parking?
Yeah.
It's more like 8.
Yeah, 8 and 4. Okay. I think we can do a couple different things here. As your agenda is for both preliminary and final approval. We can certainly give this preliminary approval, I would think, based on what was presented and the revisions that were made. With regards to final approval. Obviously, the working drawings would need to be coordinated with the perspective presented. So that all the components shown on the perspective are in fact on the working drawings. With that said, does the board have any objection to one of us verifying that?
No, I think it's good.
No, I'm fine with that.
Fine.
All right. Then we'll have 2 votes right now. I'd like a motion to grant this project preliminary approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then with regards to final approval, I would like a motion to indicate after review of the submitted construction drawings to verify that the perspective has been coordinated into the working drawings, and the components that were shown on that perspective are in fact on those working drawings. And that the architect has in fact did a sun study to verify the depth of the overhang
On the south.
on the south side. And grant this particular project final approval with that stipulation of verification.
Can we add that once the sun study is done, the architect has the final say about whether the overhang needs to be increased?
As you should.
Or it's fine the way it is, so that we don't unduly burden him in one direction or the other?
If it shows it needs to be deeper, it needs to be deeper.
Yeah, we'll have the project architect.
Yeah, I think Bobby's. plan is
Self-certify
we
that.
ask them to
Yeah.
Verify.
Does anybody have any
So
questions?
moved.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So at the final submission of your construction docs, where are you with that in that process?
We're in design development drawings, and we paused just for feedback because of the changes on obviously the massing and things that affect those drawings.
Okay, perfect. So then, the project planner on this is Soren?
Approval, yeah.
Okay. We'll have Soren, upon receipt of those construction drawings, send me an email so I can come in and verify the approval criteria.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations. Good luck with the rest of this.
Thank you
And-
again for your time and
That's all we have for
consideration. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
Before we adjourn here, can I quickly read back the motion? Just to verify that I captured everything that you wanted.
Okay.
Chair McGlinty moved, seconded by member Reese, and carried by a vote of 5-0 to grant final approval upon confirmation that the elevations are modified to conform to the comments made today, and completion of a sun study to determine whether or not the awning on the south side needs to be extended. Chair McGlinty will verify approval criteria through coordination with the planner. Does that characterize?
Well, other than to match that perspective.
Yeah, if you just want to incorporate the fact that we're looking for the construction documents, the drawings to match the perspective presented today.
Okay, thank you. I have that in the comments, but you're right, it should be carried through. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. So with that being the last item on today's agenda, I'll ask for a motion now to adjourn today's meeting.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks.
That?